Dr. Bethany Marshall joining me, psychoanalyst, author of Deal Breakers. You know, Bethany, I've always tried to understand after, a dear friend committed suicide, what pushes what it seems to be a perfectly balanced person. We all have depression. We all have, I believe every thinking person can sometimes have debilitating depression. People that think deeply or emotional or feel deeply. But what pushes a person to take that step and to commit suicide? It's very hard for me to understand.
What pushes a person to the edge often is loss, believe it or not. And as the reporter is reporting, Jim Carrey had recently broken up with her. And also 90% of people who successfully terminate their own lives either have a comorbid substance abuse problem or a psychiatric issue. And I'm not sure if she has either one, but it seems to me that this woman was spiraling. She was depressed. She didn't see a future, and that perhaps she had begun obsessing about the STDs because it gave her a sense of hopelessness, of being defected, of being diseased, and she felt that she would never find another person. And the drugs that she took, Nancy, are very interesting to me because propranolol is blood pressure medication. Now, it's a beta blocker, and sometimes it's used to help with anxiety as an off-label indication, but it is blood pressure, high blood pressure medication. Why would she be taking that? It says to me that she took a cocktail of as many drugs as she could get her hands on, and that she was really determined to end her life.
You know, another thing, as much as I am intimating that I don't think these legal claims are worth the paper that they're printed on, I don't think that there are legal claims. I don't want to be so hard on the mother. Now, this husband, I think they were estranged and had been estranged for some time. I don't know what to make of that. But when I think about the mother, she's probably, I believe she lives in Ireland or the Great Britain, and I'm not sure which. And she's been far away from her daughter. Her daughter commits suicide, and she's probably in so much pain that she's lashing out at whomever she can think of that could be, in her mind, if not legally, morally responsible, in her mind. And as much
I'm not
as
so
she's...
sure, Nancy.
Really? Whoa,
oh, no,
are you calling her a gold digger too?
Yeah, I don't feel so sorry. I mean, I feel sorry for the mother that she's lost her daughter, but I believe she's externalizing blame. Her own daughter had recently cut her off, which means there was a very dysfunctional, toxic relationship. And who better to blame than Jim Carrey? It may not be so much that she's trying to exact money, is that she's trying to externalize blame instead of taking responsibility for the fact that her daughter was in a very bad place psychologically.
You know, Bethany, another thing, very often we have seen that comedians at this statute, and there have been reports that Jim Carrey himself had depression, and I wonder how those two played off the other.
Well, they may have become fragile or despondent together, but Nancy, if he had depression or anxiety, of course he would go under an alias. We all have an expectation of privacy when it comes to our mental health records. That's why we have HIPAA. So I think that the Arthur King is completely understandable, but they may have exacerbated each other's depression.
Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst, author of Deal Breakers. Bethany, did you hear that? The reporter that spoke to him said he was cool, calm, collected, and charming. That doesn't sound insane to me.
No, it doesn't. Sounds like a sociopath. You know, Harris' 20-point sociopath checklist. You can look it up on the internet. Glib, affable, charming, a superficially charming veneer that hides a cold, calculated interior, parasitic lifestyle, low levels of sexuality. They try to jumpstart their sexuality by acts of aggression against women. You know, these sociopaths use words in different ways than you and I do. So when he says he was trying to get them to see the light or that someone was scheming against him, those words don't have meaning for him like they do for you and me. Remember the BTK killer who said that he comforted one of his victims before he strangled her? Just don't believe anything he says, Nancy, as you know.